The desert wind was dry and sharp, carrying the taste of rust and sand through the broken edges of the old landing port. Noah's ship groaned like an injured animal, smoke rising from the rear engine. He had crash-landed on a planet he didn't even remember charting, a backwater world marked only as Zone 7B, hostile. Noah stepped out of the broken hatch, squinting against the blinding sunlight. The air was hot and silent. No birds, no movement. Just rusted-out buildings and old scrap piled in strange patterns, like someone had been collecting junk for centuries. He was a trader, not a fighter. His only weapons were words, tools, and enough charm to stay alive in alien marketplaces. But right now, none of that would help. His ship was dead, and his emergency beacon was jammed. He had no choice but to walk. He passed under a hanging sign that read, in multiple languages, "Mechanic." The letters were faded. Half the sign had melted. But the door beneath it creaked open before he could knock. And then she appeared. A tall, white-haired alien girl with feline ears stepped into the doorway. Her eyes were golden and sharp like a hunter. Her fur shimmered under the sun. She wore a leather suit zipped halfway down, her hands on her hips, tools clipped around her belt. Her voice was smooth, but powerful. "You're leaking plasma," she said flatly. Noah blinked. "Yes, I crashed." She stepped closer, her eyes scanning him top to bottom, not with fear, but curiosity. "You're human. You don't belong here. I didn't mean to land. I need help." She stared at him for a long time, then finally gave a small nod. "Bring your ship, I'll fix it. I can't move it. Rear engines out. And I think the coolant lines, I'll come." Without another word, she turned and grabbed a toolkit from inside. Noah followed her back through the dust, half in disbelief. This place was abandoned, the planet itself forgotten by most travelers. But she lived here, worked here, survived here. As they reached the wrecked ship, she crouched low, ears twitching as she examined the damage. She moved fast, hands graceful and efficient. Noah could barely keep up as she spoke. "Coolant lines are burned, energy cells ruptured. Drive. Core is unstable. Lucky you're not dead." Noah chuckled nervously. "I've heard that before." She didn't smile. "I can fix it." He felt a small breath of hope. "Thank you, really, I'll pay you, or—" She raised one brow. "I wasn't finished." He stopped. "I fix your ship," she said, her voice low now. "But when it's flying again, I keep you." Noah froze. "What? You heard me. You belong to me after this." "I'm not," he started. Then saw the look in her eyes. It wasn't cruel. It wasn't even lust. It was something else. Like she was testing him. She stood again, crossing her arms. "You need to leave this planet. You need me to make that happen. And I've lived alone long enough." He looked into her eyes and realized she wasn't joking. This wasn't a threat, it was a deal. Maybe the only one he would get. The wind howled around them. Far in the distance, he saw shapes moving across the sand-shadowy figures on the horizon. "I'll help you survive," she said calmly. "But if I do, you don't walk away." Noah looked back at the burning wreck behind him, and then at her. She stood like a goddess of the junkyard, wild and powerful, her fur catching the light like silver flame. He nodded slowly. "All right," he said. "Fix the ship." She smiled, then barely. But it was there. Good. And with that, the deal was sealed. Noah sat on a piece of broken metal, watching her work. She moved with strange grace, each step quiet and sure. Her hands were fast, pulling out damaged parts from the ship, her tools making soft buzzing sounds. Sparks flew. The sun was hot, but she didn't seem to care. "What's your name?" Noah asked, wiping sweat from his forehead. She didn't look up. "Riven, Riven," he repeated. "Nice name." She grunted in reply and kept working. Hours passed. Noah offered to help, But Riven only handed him small tasks. Hold this wire. Pass that tool. Most of the real work she did herself. She didn't speak much, but he noticed her eyes always watched everything. She was careful, smart, maybe even kind, though she tried to hide it. He finally asked, "Why are you living here?" "This place looks abandoned." Riven paused, her hand tightening on a wrench. "It is. Then why stay?" She looked up, eyes locking on his. "Because I was left here." Noah didn't ask more. He could feel it wasn't the time. But something in her voice made his chest feel tight. She wasn't just surviving, she was hiding pain. And maybe loneliness. When night came, Riven lit up a small lamp and started welding near the engine. Noah stared at the stars. They looked so close here, like diamonds above a graveyard. He heard distant howls, not wind. Creatures. "Is it safe?" "At night?" he asked. "No," Riven said calmly. "But I have sensors around the camp. If anything steps too close, I'll know." He stood and walked to her side. "You've done all this alone?" "Yes." "You're amazing," he said softly. She stopped welding and glanced at him. "Don't say that." "You haven't seen what I've done to survive." Noah didn't reply. He wanted to know her more, but she was like a locked door with sharp edges. Still, something about her made him stay close. Maybe it was the fire in her eyes. Maybe the strength in her silence. Later, she gave him a small metal plate with heated food. It wasn't much, but he hadn't eaten all day. He smiled. "Thanks." Riven didn't smile back, but she watched him eat like it meant something. As he finished, an alarm blinked red on her wristband. Riven stood fast. "Stay here. What's wrong?" "Scouts," she said. "Slavers or worse." She grabbed a long metal rod that lit up blue at the edge. "A weapon." Noah stood too. "I can fight." "No, you'll slow me down." "Stay in the ship." But he didn't sit. He watched from the hatch as Riven moved through the shadows like a ghost. She was fast, deadly. Her ears twitched with every sound, and her blade glowed like lightning. Two shadows appeared beyond the junk walls. Big, armored figures. Riven didn't wait. She charged. The fight was quick but brutal. Metal clanged, sparks flew. One attacker screamed, the other ran. Riven returned with a cut on her arm and a tired look in her eyes. "Still think I'm amazing?" she said. Noah didn't answer with words. He grabbed the medkit and walked to her, kneeling beside her bleeding arm. "I think you're more than that," he whispered. She let him treat her wound without a word. When he was done, she looked at him for a long moment. "You're not like the others I've met," she said. "Good," he said. "Because I'm not planning to leave you." Riven blinked. Her expression didn't change much, but her tail moved slowly behind her. She stood again. "Then you better fix that power core tomorrow." He nodded. Under the broken moons of the alien sky, the strange bond between a lost human and a wild feline mechanic had started to grow quiet, but real. Neither of them said it, but both felt it. This wasn't just survival anymore. Something else was forming. Something neither of them expected. The morning was silent, except for the soft hum of tools. Riven was already working again, crouched near the power core. Her tail moved slowly behind her as she focused on the tangled mess of wires. Noah woke up inside the ship, rubbed his eyes, and stepped out into the heat. "You don't sleep much, do you?" he asked. "Sleep is a weakness," she said, not looking up. "I sleep when the ship flies." He smiled and walked over, holding a cup of recycled water. "You know, most mechanics would charge credits, not people." Riven paused. "Most mechanics are dead out here." She looked up at him with a quiet fire in her eyes. "I don't want credits. I want something I can trust. Someone who won't leave." Noah sat down beside her. "You don't even know me." "I know enough. You didn't run when the alarms went off. You didn't scream when I killed those scouts. You stayed." He didn't know what to say to that. She was right. He stayed because something about her pulled at him like a song he didn't understand but couldn't stop listening to. Riven handed him a tool. Tighten that bolt. Noah followed her instructions, slowly learning the ship's guts. He wasn't a mechanic, but he could help. And she didn't push him away anymore. Hours passed. Sweat rolled down their backs and their hands grew dirty. But for the first time, they worked like a team. During a break, Noah asked, "Why did you really want to keep me?" Riven didn't answer right away. She sat on a crate and looked into the horizon. "There used to be others here," she said. "A crew. They crashed too. I helped them rebuild. I saved them." "What happened?" "They left, promised they'd return. But they never did." Noah could hear the anger and the sadness in her voice. She had been betrayed. Left behind again. That's why she didn't trust Easy. That's why she wanted something more than payment. "I'm not them," he said. "I know," she whispered. That night, they ate together beside a small fire. The air had cooled, and the sky turned dark purple with stars. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed through the distance. The ground shook slightly. "What was that?" Noah asked, standing. Riven's ears twitched. She narrowed her eyes. "Not slavers. Something heavier, maybe ... machines. Like drones?" "No, worse." She stood quickly, grabbing a scanning device and pointing it toward the east. The screen blinked red. Multiple contacts. "Moving fast. Get inside," she ordered. Noah didn't argue. He followed her into the ship, and she sealed the hatch behind them. Her fingers danced across the control panel, bringing up external cameras. Through the screen, they saw them giant walkers. Not human-made, not native either. Their movements were heavy, like beasts made of metal and fire. "What are they?" Noah whispered. Riven's voice was tense. "Scavenger hunters. Ancient machines. They attack anything with power." "But why now?" She shook her head. "They must have sensed the ship's repairs. We're using energy they can smell." Noah looked at the ship's core. "Then we have to shut it off." "We can't. If we stop now, we lose everything. The repairs aren't stable yet. So what do we do?" Riven turned to him with a cold, fierce look. "We finish it. We make this ship fly tonight, or we both stay here forever." Noah nodded. His heart was beating fast, but he trusted her. "Now then, let's do it." They got back to work. Under pressure, under fear, with the ground trembling under their feet, they worked as one. Human and alien. Builder and survivor. Bound not by contract, but by the fire of survival in the beginning of something deeper. Outside, the machines marched closer. Inside, the ship's heart started to beat again. The engines roared for the first time in days. It wasn't full power yet, but the core was stable and the systems were responding. Inside the ship, the walls vibrated with new life. Outside, the ground still shook from the approach of the scavenger hunters, giant machines that fed on technology. Riven's hands moved fast across the control panel, sweat on her forehead, her ears twitching at every sound. "Stabilizer is online. Shields 30%. Noah was at her side, tightening bolts and checking the power readouts. "How long until we can lift off?" 10 minutes if nothing fails," she said. 5 if we're lucky." They weren't lucky. A loud crashing sound came from the outer wall of the junkyard. One of the metal beasts had arrived. Its legs slammed down like hammers, and its glowing red eyes searched for energy. Riven ran to the viewport. "It's scanning. We have 1 minute before it finds us." Noah's heart raced. "What do we do?" She grabbed her blade from the wall and tossed him a metal rod. "We delay it." He looked at the rod, confused. "You want me to fight that thing?" "No," she said. "I want you to survive. I'll fight. You finish the final system link." "But," she stepped close and grabbed his shirt, "you promised. You said you wouldn't leave me." "Then do your part." He saw it in her eyes, fear, anger, courage. all mixed together. She wasn't just protecting the ship. She was protecting him. Without another word, she rushed outside. Noah turned to the panel. The final link was a tangled mess of wires. He took a deep breath and focused. Sparks flew as he worked, remembering everything Riven had taught him in the last 2 days. Outside, the ground trembled again. Through the ship's camera, he saw her Riven leaping across metal ruins, dodging the hunter's giant claws. She was fast, but the machine was relentless. It swiped and missed, but only just. She struck it hard with her glowing blade. The hunter let out a mechanical screech, sparks bursting from its joint. But another one appeared from behind the dunes. Then a third. Noah shouted into the comms, "Riven! You have to come back. I'm not leaving it half done." Her voice came back through the static, "Make it fly." The final wire sparked in Noah's hand. He forced it into the port. And suddenly, the ship let out a loud hum. The core stabilized. Lights turned green. "It's ready." He yelled, "Get in." Riven was running now. She leaped onto a broken crane and jumped onto the ship's wing. Noah opened the hatch just in time and grabbed her hand, pulling her inside. The hunter's claws slammed down, missing them by inches. "Close it," she shouted. He slammed the hatch button. The door sealed. The ship shook from the blast behind them, but they were safe for now. Riven stumbled and fell to her knees, breathing hard. Her blade was cracked. Her arm was bleeding. Again, but she was smiling just a little. "You did it," she said. "No," Noah said, kneeling beside her. "We did it." She looked at him with something new in her eyes, not just pride, not just relief. It was something deeper. The engines roared again. "Ready to fly?" he asked. Riven stood up slowly and placed her hand on the pilot's seat. "Let's leave this graveyard behind." The ship lifted from the ground. The hunters roared beneath them, too slow to stop them now. Dust and smoke filled the air as the old junkyard disappeared into the sky. They had escaped, but the journey wasn't over. Noah looked at Riven as she stared at the stars through the window. She was wild, dangerous, and beautiful. But more than that, she was brave, loyal. He wasn't sure where they were going next, but he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't just her passenger anymore. He was hers. The stars stretched endlessly before them. The ship flew smoothly now, the repairs holding strong as they crossed the upper atmosphere of the ruined world. Noah sat in the co-pilot seat, watching the readings while glancing sideways at Riven. She didn't speak. She kept her eyes locked on the stars, her hands gripping the flight controls. Her wounds were patched, but the fresh cut on her arm still bled a little. She refused to rest. "You need to sit down," Noah said softly. "You're hurt." "I'm fine." "You're not," he insisted. "You fought machines the size of buildings. At least drink some water." Riven sighed and leaned back just for a moment. Her sharp eyes studied him like he was another strange puzzle. "You care too much. Is that a problem?" "No," she said, quieter now. "I'm just not used to it." They floated in silence for a while, the ship gliding gently toward a nearby moonbase. Noah noticed her tail curling slowly. That only happened when she was thinking deeply, or anxious. "Do you regret it?" she finally asked. "Regret what?" "Agreeing to be mine." Noah blinked. Her voice wasn't mocking or cold this time. It sounded afraid, vulnerable. "No," he said. "Not for 1 second." Riven looked at him, her golden eyes reflecting starlight. "Then you should know something," he nodded. "Anything." "I wasn't supposed to save you," she said. "When I first saw your ship crash, I almost left it alone. I thought you were just another careless wanderer. But then I saw you climb out, and I saw how lost you looked. Like you had nothing left." She paused, her voice trembling just slightly. "I knew that feeling." Noah felt something heavy in his chest. "Riven." Before he could say more, The ship's warning lights flashed. A red signal pulsed on the screen. Scanner pinged something. He said. Riven moved fast. Another ship. Following us. Fast. She tapped into the external cameras. A sleek black ship appeared behind them, small but armed. It moved like a predator. Do you recognize it? Noah asked. Riven growled softly. Yes, it's a hunter-class tracker. Belongs to slavers. They must have picked up my trail. They're after you. She nodded once. I escaped from them a long time ago. Took one of their ships, this one. I rebuilt it. Modified it. So they want you back. Or they want revenge. The enemy ship began to close the distance. Riven swore under her breath and activated the defense system. Weapons online, but shields are still weak from launch. We can't outrun them? No, we fight. Noah nodded, trying to stay calm. What do I do? She looked at him. Seriously, get on the cannon. I'll fly, you shoot. He rushed to the gunner station as the ship rattled. Laser fire exploded nearby. The enemy had started attacking. Ready, he said. Then hold on. Riven pulled the ship into a spin, dodging blasts as Noah returned fire. The weapon kicked with power as he aimed at the black shadow behind them. One shot struck its wing. The slaver ship wobbled but didn't stop. They're tough, he shouted. So are we. For the next few minutes they fought as one, dodging, firing, risking everything. The ship shook, but they held on. Finally, Noah saw a chance. The slaver ship made a sharp turn and exposed its power cell. He aimed carefully and fired. The shot hit. The slaver ship exploded in a silent flash of fire and metal. It was over. Noah slumped in the chair, breathing hard. We did it. Riven let out a breath too. Her voice was soft. You really are different. He smiled weakly. Still think I'm yours? She turned to him, her voice calm but full of heat. Now I know it. And for the first time since they met, she reached for his hand. Noah didn't pull away. Out here in the stars, surrounded by danger, they had found something strange and powerful: trust. And maybe more. The damage from the fight was small, but the energy cells were running low. Riven landed the ship on a quiet asteroid station, surrounded by glowing mist and forgotten ruins. The place was old, silent, and cold, but safe for now. Noah helped her shut down the engines. The silence afterward felt strange, like a storm had passed but left something behind. You need rest, Noah said gently. No more arguing. Riven didn't argue this time. She sat down slowly on a bench inside the storage bay. Her tail curled around her leg. Her wounds were healing, but her face looked tired more than just physically. Noah sat across from her, watching her closely. We survived slavers, machines, and scavengers. But you still look like something's chasing you. Riven didn't answer right away. Her eyes were lost in thought. I have to tell you something, she finally said. Noah waited. I wasn't alone when I escaped that slaver crew, she said slowly. There was someone else with me, my sister. Noah blinked. You never mentioned her, Riven nodded. Because she didn't make it. The air felt heavier now. We escaped together, she continued, voice low. She was younger, gentler. Not made for war. I protected her for months, kept her alive, trained her. But one night, when I was out scavenging, she was taken again. I never found her. Noah leaned forward. You think the slavers still have her? I don't know. But I think about it every time I sleep. That's why I stayed alone. That's why I built traps, weapons, machines. I thought maybe if I got strong enough, I could face them again. Noah's voice was soft. You're not alone anymore. She looked up at him, her golden eyes shining under the dim lights. I know, that's the problem. What do you mean? She stood up and paced the floor. You made me care again, and that means I could lose again. I'm scared of that. He stood too and stepped closer. Then be scared. But don't run from it. Riven looked at him like he was the only thing in the universe. "I don't know how to love someone without breaking," she whispered. "You don't have to love me perfectly," he said. "Just don't leave." She blinked fast like her. Mind was fighting her heart. Then, slowly, she stepped forward and rested her forehead against his chest. "I won't leave," she said. "Not unless you make me." Noah wrapped his arms around her. Her body was warm and strong, but he could feel how much he had been holding back. They stood like that for a long time, not needing words. Later they shared food in silence. And Riven even laughed once, just once, when Noah spilled water on himself. It was soft, quick, and vanished fast, but it was real. As they lay down in the sleeping chamber, back to back, her tail curled around his ankle like a silent promise. But as they closed their eyes, the ship's alert chimed once soft, but clear. An unknown signal was nearby. It was faint, but it carried a name Riven hadn't heard in years. Her sister's. Noah turned to her. "What is it?" She stared at the blinking screen and whispered, "She might be alive." The signal blinked on the screen, steady and weak. But the name attached to it was clear. Lyra. Riven's eyes stayed locked on it. Her heart beat faster, her claws flexing slowly. She hadn't spoken in over a minute. Noah stood beside her, watching her face carefully. "Is that really her?" he asked softly. "I don't know," Riven whispered. "But it's her code, her voice signature. I taught her how to send it." Noah stepped closer. "Then we go." Riven turned to him, eyes wide. "Noah, this could be a trap. If slavers are using her signal, then we still go," he said, firm now. "We don't leave family behind." Her breath caught. For so long, she had believed she was alone. But now she had two reasons to fight: her sister and the human who never gave up on her. She nodded. "Then we go." They rerouted the ship and followed the signal across a dark stretch of dead space. The trail led them to an old wrecked freighter floating near a moon's orbit. It looked abandoned, silent, forgotten. Riven scanned it twice. One life sign, faint, no traps detected. But it's too quiet," Noah finished. She strapped on her blade. "I'm going in." "I'm going with you." They moved together through the docking corridor, guns ready, steps silent. The freighter creaked as they entered. It smelled of rust, oil, and something cold. The life sign was deep in the ship. They passed old cages, chains, broken tools. It had been a prison once. Finally they reached a small chamber. Inside, barely conscious, chained to the floor, was a young feline girl, thin, bruised, and scared. Her fur was dull, her eyes barely open. Riven froze. "Lyra?" she said, voice cracking. The girl looked up slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. "Sis!" Riven dropped her weapon and ran forward. She knelt and pulled Lyra into her arms. Chains clinking loudly. Tears rolled down her face. "I thought you were gone," Riven whispered. "I thought I lost you." Lyra held onto her tightly. I waited every day." Noah stepped in quietly and began unlocking the chains. It took time. But finally, they brought Lyra aboard the ship. She was weak but alive. Riven stayed by her side the whole time, feeding her, cleaning her wounds, and whispering soft words in a language Noah didn't understand. Later, when Lyra was resting, Riven walked over to Noah. "She's alive because of you," she said. "No," he replied. "She's alive because of you. You never gave up." She touched his chest lightly with her hand. "I couldn't have done this without you. You didn't just fix my ship. You repaired me." Noah smiled. "So, what happens now?" Riven leaned in closer. Her voice was soft, but strong. "Now we fly together, all three of us." She kissed him gently just once, but it was enough to say everything she couldn't. The stars were wide and open ahead, and for the first time in years, Riven didn't feel broken. She felt whole, Not just a survivor, not just a fighter, but finally, home.